Dungeons have always been top-notch in World of Warcraft. Whether it's the linear execution of Warlords of Draenor instances, the Mythic Plus system of Legion, or maybe the sprawling epic scale of vanilla, dungeons are always a highlight of gameplay. And then the Burning Crusade just walks in, steals the crown, and spits on the rest of them. Hello and welcome back to another video where I try to convince you that my opinion matters and you should listen to me. On this episode, I finally got a haircut, and we're gonna look at the Burning Crusade dungeons because they're fucking awesome. So let's take a look. When it came to creating the open world and instance dungeons of vanilla WoW, scale was clearly a large factor. WoW was trying to be epic, and the world would have to represent that goal. John Staats, level designer for vanilla WoW and author of The WoW Diary, described his early experiences with the development team by saying, quote, "And I just built. And they kept saying bigger, bigger, bigger," end quote. We can see this design principle at work with instances like Maraudon, the Temple of Ahn Qiraj, and Blackrock Depths. These dungeons were behemoths, and some even felt like entire world zones in and of themselves. I mean, Blackrock Depths legit has a whole city in it! The downside is that at times, players would get lost or bored by the end of that journey. Stats would even mention that dungeons would get over-designed and grossly overpopulated with mobs. Blizzard sought to change their goal with dungeons in the Burning Crusade, however. The world and raids would be grand, epic experiences players would tell tales about. Five-man dungeons, well, their epic nature would now revolve around gameplay and challenge. During the development of WoW's first expansion, Blizzard realized that dungeons were becoming the player's favorite activity in-game. Instances would need to be better, harder, more mechanically and visually interesting, and there had to be a ton of them. Welcome to Outland, where the dungeons are so incredible that even people who've never done them talk about how great they are. Do you remember Blackrock Mountain? Remember how cool it was, how menacing it looked, and how multiple dungeons and raids were housed inside of it? Literally, the first zone you walked into in Outland had a place exactly like it. Hellfire Citadel, the first place you'd go to do a dungeon, had multiple dungeons and a raid there, ready to go. I seriously love this. It's as if Blizzard was like, oh, Blackrock Mountain was only the beginning. Everything is Blackrock Mountain now, though, baby. And, well, seriously, they did it. Zangarmarsh had the Coilfang Reservoir with 3 dungeons and a raid. Terrakar had Auchendown with 4 dungeons. Netherstorm and Tempest Keep with 3 dungeons and a raid. Now sprinkle some more raids and more dungeons elsewhere, and bam! Burning Crusade. Overachieving like a badass. While the instances in Outland would be smaller in size, the bosses in Trash, well, they actually did stuff now. Seriously, bosses actually had mechanics all of a sudden. Multiple of them, in fact. Let's just take the first boss most people will ever bump into, Watchkeeper Gargulmar in Hellfire Ramparts. He has a charge mechanic, a Mortal Strike to reduce healing, can use the warrior's overpower ability each time the tank dodges. On top of that, he also has adds, and they will cast dots on the group, and they will heal Gargulmar intermittently, so they must be interrupted. So we have a charge, a debuff, a counterattack, adds, dots, and heals in a single 5-man boss. The first 5-man boss. Confirmed. This first and relatively easy boss of TBC has more mechanics than any dungeon boss in the entirety of vanilla. It actually may have more mechanics in itself than some entire dungeon's worth of bosses in vanilla. Blizzard was really starting to figure out mechanics and how players would interact with these puzzles. These fights still weren't insanely difficult, but dungeons finally became an interesting gameplay experience mechanically rather than just environmentally. What about leveling? Most of my time leveling in vanilla is through dungeons. Yeah, super suboptimal, I know, but dungeons and raids are my favorite part of the game. While TBC dungeons are plentiful. There are 15 total dungeons at launch. Compare this to Wrath of the Lich King with its 12, or Cataclysm or Mop's 9. If you couple this with the fact that there are 3 to 5 quests per dungeon on average, then the condensed experience of just 10 levels makes for an incredibly well-paced adventure. Just look at the level requirements for these dungeons, by the way. You unlock the ability to enter a new dungeon basically every level, and sometimes multiple dungeons at once. So if you're sick of doing quests out in the world, odds are a brand new dungeon just became available. There's no doubt about it. It's actually impossible to be bored while leveling in TBC. Unless you're a PvPer. Yo, but let's be real, who actually plays WoW PvP when Guild Wars exists? Wow. All in all, the Burning Crusade dungeon experience is an incredible one. Basically, everything is an improvement from vanilla. Even itemization is genuinely great, and the inclusion of jewel crafting, the badge system, heroic modes, heroic-only bosses, these all culminate into a variety pack that still holds a deterministic reward structure along a varied journey. Retail, come on, you can learn from that, guys. Come on, seriously. WoW has been trying to recapture much of what made TBC Dungeons so great, and we've only just touched on these high-level concepts. There's still so much more to go over, but that'll cost 40 badges of justice and a primal nether to unlock that video, boys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and wow, the reception to this channel has been surprisingly really good. I just kind of threw it together to say, yeah, what would happen if I made WoW content instead of my normal general gaming stuff? Apparently you guys like it. So thank you. It seriously means a lot to me. If you haven't already, I'm going to have all the links down below, and I'm going to do this for every video. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter, where I spout my random nonsense about gaming and other stuff, but it's mostly gaming here. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitch. Streaming is going to be happening way more often, so thank you very much for that. If you enjoy, we're going to be playing mostly World of Warcraft for the upcoming Shadowlands expansion, and also some Classic, and we'll sneak in some other gaming stuff in general if you want to, you know, have some fun gaming as a whole, because gaming's great. Honestly, and also check out my other channel. I do general gaming stuff, reviews, all that fun jazz, so thank you so much for watching, seriously. This has been awesome and a really cool experience so far, and we're just getting started. Have a good one, happy gaming, and sayonara. Endings, dude, I will nail an ending one day. I'll get one down, I'll figure it out. A day is not today.